there is a new movement called Truckers for Trump. And after this ruling, they're boycotting deliveries to New York, which I think is fucking awesome.
Did you see the recent claims from Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger about the Russia hoax collusion? Or the Russia Collusion Hoax?
I'm Stephanie Keith.
And I am Tara Manjekovic. And we are unapologetically outspoken.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. So I have really tried to avoid the Trump trials and all the drama surrounding it, but it's gotten so ridiculous. Like, we have to talk about it. I mean, it's turning into like a reality TV show. It's like, you can't make this shit up. So let's start with the case in Georgia, where Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought this ridiculous case. This is the one where she's charging Trump and 18 co-defendants and, saying that they allegedly tried to overturn Georgia's election results. And you would think that if you're bringing a case against the former president with, all of the publicity that comes with it, you'd be as professional as possible. But that is anything but the case here. So what's happening now is this whole trial might just go away because Fani Willis hired her lover, Nathan Wade, to be the special prosecutor on the case and paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars, which of course were paid for by the taxpayers. So clearly this is a conflict of interest. And it's alleged that Willis and Wade both benefited from this money, this taxpayer money. And they went on lavish vacations all over, the country and outside of the country, and just all kinds of crazy stuff is coming up. But that's not even the crazy part of the story. The crazy part is her reaction on the stand. So let me set the scene for everyone in case you missed it. So first, she gets on the stand and she's visibly shaking and nervous. And she just immediately starts barking orders and saying get me this, I need that, I need these 3 documents. While she's on the stand, she's addressing the judge out of turn. And all of this is typically a big no-no in a courtroom. Anyone knows that, but definitely a district attorney should be well aware of how you address the court. And this just turned into more like the Jerry Springer show than a courtroom. So I'm going to play just a few of the many clips going around of Fani Willis on the stand so you can hear for yourself just how ridiculous this is.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
Well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. Give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. It is a lie. It is a lie.
Well, Mr. Sen, I think we're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
No, we don't answer it since you said it.
So the money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute. But I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened? No, we don't answer it since you said it. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash.
Don't be cute. Don't be cute with me. Totally unhinged, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this woman is the woman trying to take down Trump and, screw the American taxpayer in the process by enriching her boyfriend. And when she gets caught, she just goes off the rails. And to me, that's the way someone acts who's guilty. They get completely defensive. And Tara, I'm sure you spent a lot of time in court as a police officer, right?
In the beginning of my career, yeah, until everything was made no longer a crime, and then I hardly ever went to
yeah,
court.
true. Good point. Well, okay, so you've been in a courtroom. Like, would a
times.
judge have ever allowed someone to act that unprofessional and disrespectful in their courtroom? It's like,
Absolutely not.
yeah, anyone else would have been held in contempt if they acted like that. And the judge is just like, oh, we're going to take a 5-minute break, you know? And as a DA, like, she should be the prime example of how to show respect in a courtroom. So I was totally shocked to see her performance. But like it was so outlandish and unbelievable that I feel like once again we're watching some theatrical performance that's just meant to distract us from something else going on. Like, do you feel that way too? I mean, it seems like too out there to actually be real. Like, in what world would a DA act like that?
In the world of George Soros, Stephanie. I mean, let's be honest, but I haven't watched much of the trial because what I have seen is such a fucking shit show. Like you said it perfectly. It's the Jerry Springer show. It's basically a Jerry Springer episode. And all I'm going to say is Judge Judy never would have allowed this kind of shit in her courtroom.
No, Judge Judy would have thrown her ass in jail for contempt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and that's not even like the worst of it. So obviously she got on the stand. Well, so did Wade. And both of them, under oath, stated that their relationship began in 2022, like after this case already started. Yet a former friend of Willis, Robin Yearty, testified that Willis and Wade began their relationship back in 2019. So now it appears that they've both been caught lying under oath in court. And it's like, what does it even matter? You know, if they started sleeping together in 2022 after she hired him, that would still be wildly inappropriate. And like, especially in this type of a case. And even the mainstream media is saying how bad this is for Fani Willis. So I have a clip from MSNBC, which of course is one of the most left-leaning news organizations. And even they agree that she is done.
You, this is epic. This is monumental. If things are going in the direction we think, Fani Willis lied to the court. It's game over for her. She will be disqualified. If they had a relationship prior to when they represented to the court, it's a huge deal. I can't overstate it. And do you feel that?
I'm glad someone's like saying it because it is a huge deal. They shouldn't just be playing this off like, oh, you know, whatever, like huge scandal, no big deal.
Okay, but I have to add some more humor to this because, again, this whole thing is ridiculous. But I was listening to Real AF on Monday and I was laughing my ass off because they went into it with this trial. And Brantley Gilbert was a guest on the show. So in this clip, it's Andy, DJ, and Brantley Gilbert that are talking. And you almost have to see the clip they're talking about, but then they explain it. And I had to listen to this more than once because it was just very funny to me.
You got one of Fani's longtime friends says that there's no doubt that Fani and her and Wade were in a relationship that started back in 2019, and he's been married the whole time. She's seen them hugging and kissing, but that's not even the biggest thing. It comes out in this trial that Fani Willis allegedly reimbursed her lover and fellow Trump prosecutor with cash for vacation. So he was taking these trips, charging him on his business credit card. She reimbursed him with straight cash, and then he still wrote that shit off on his taxes. So I mean, it's just like,
you or me will go to jail for that.
He might go to jail. Yeah. Exactly. No, that's the thing because there is a double standard here, right?
Absolutely.
And so like that's the fucked up thing. But I want to, you know, I just want you guys to watch this clip, and then you guys tell me if you think he's lying. Okay, here's the clip.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Wait. A cabin? Uh-huh.
You lied, dog.
Bro, he's look.
No. No. That is a man who is contemplating his entire life based upon the answer that he's about to give, bro.
Ever?
That was
No.
beautiful. Oh.
Can we watch it? Can we watch it one more time? Let's watch it.
I don't know. We got time? I mean, fuck yeah.
Shit. Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever? Ever.
What you looking at, bruh?
No.
You know what, bro? You know what? I'm here for the fucking obviously lying and just straight up.
Nah.
No,
Yeah.
fuck. You know what I mean? I'm here for it.
Fuck,
Hey,
bro. They fucking
look
get
at
it.
it.
They get it. Bro.
You looking at the ass on the podium, bro.
Bro. This guy, for those of you guys listening on audio, this dude is legit on the fucking stage, on a press conference, looking at this girl's ass.
Mhm.
Like, dude.
Biting his lip. Look at it, like.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, dude, I look
He's
at
saying-
it like that is me 99% of the time.
That's him. That's him saying, "Man, I had a great time with that cabin."
Yeah, he's reminiscing on the cabin.
That's right.
That is the epitome of a pit bull with the red thing hanging out.
Well, that motherfucker is sitting there. He's like, "Well, it technically wasn't a cabin.
Yeah.
It was more like it was a log house."
Bro, that's how they play that shit.
Yeah.
That's how they play that shit.
Yeah.
Silence. You at least
It was
be asking questions.
I actually think it was a treehouse.
That's no, but like that's the language game.
I
that they
think it was a
play.
barn. You know what? No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a lot of silence in that clip, right?
Yeah.
Because that was him on the stand, not fucking answering.
Oh.
40 seconds where she asked him and he just sat there and didn't say anything. And they're describing the way he's sitting there and he's just staring at her ass while he's sitting on the stand. And that's why they're like, was it a cabin or was it more like a log house? Like, that's like the thoughts going through his head because it took him 40 seconds to answer the fucking question.
That is horrible. Like,
I know.
obviously you're guilty, dude. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
how embarrassing. Wow. Yeah, I was like, I can't hear the clip. And you're like, I know. I'm like, what's happening? Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous.
Mhm.
You know, and like in a normal world, this case would have been thrown out and she'd probably face criminal charges because, I mean, this all involves her paying this guy and then she's benefiting from that. But I mean, come on, like all the people involved suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. So I wouldn't be surprised if they all just get away with it. But I have to say, the best thing about this whole hearing was the fact that Fani Willis was wearing her dress backwards with a zipper in the front that was clearly supposed to go in the back. And then she was wearing a pin of the American flag, but it was upside down. So like it made me wonder, was she just sloppy? Like, did she rush when she was getting ready in the morning? Or was this just her like making a complete mockery of our judicial system? You know, like, what do you think that's all about?
Well, I guess it depends what dress she was actually wearing because I read in the Daily Mail, they did like this very thorough article and people were posting pictures of different dresses and debating, was she wearing the $129 Adriana Popple knit crepe bow sheath dress with the 3/4 inch sleeves and it was on backwards? Or was she wearing the $42.99 VF show dress that does have a zipper in the front and otherwise looks exactly like the same dress? But either way, she's clearly sloppy with the sideways American flag pin. And I honestly think she's just a complete loon. Like, that's evidenced by her performance in the courtroom. And I want to read an excerpt from a New York Post article because I thought this was very comical. It said, quote, Fani Willis, feminist hero. You go, girl. Fani is smart, strong, and a hero for women and democracy. Forced to testify in her own defense last week while wearing a hot pink dress backwards, Fani raved. She ranted. She took umbrage. She filibustered. She philosophized, The Guardian declared. By showing her grief and rage, she humanizes herself before an audience sympathetic to the horrors of a Black professional's love life and like a reality television show before the American public as a Trump defendant's legal ploy, end quote. And so the article is clearly mocking her, but I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what she was trying to portray.
I know. And I saw people on social media that were like, "Yeah, did you hear her like give it to the lawyer?" And I'm like, "You're not supposed to act like that in court." Like it just completely showed how unprofessional she is and how this whole thing is like a clown show. So like definitely was not a good look for her. Um and so that's just like one Trump case, right? Like there's still that other case in New York where once again, it seems like one big theatrical performance by the left. So I want to play this clip. It's super short, but it's from DA Letitia James. And so this is the woman who campaigned on getting Trump. And so hear what she has to say now that, like, whatever, she got Trump.
Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Like she's totally been rehearsing that.
God,
Like, I
absolutely.
mean, did she hire an acting coach? Because I felt like I was watching a soap opera, like the art of the steal, and like her facial expression and everything. So ridiculous. So this is the case where they say he lied on a loan application about his assets and net worth and everything, which is like just so absurd, like just to hear that, because we all know how loans work and clearly they're a lot more involved when you have like multi-million dollar deals. So it's just like ridiculous, but there were zero victims of this crime. No victims whatsoever. And the people that he allegedly defrauded were the bankers of Deutsche Bank, who actually testified on his behalf, saying they were thrilled to have Trump as a client. And they made $100 million off of that loan and interest payments. And not only did he pay the loan in full, but he even paid it off early. So, all that being said, the judge ends up ordering him to pay a $355 million fine. So like clearly this case is going to be appealed because again, it seems like a soap opera and these are all just goofy actors. But you might wonder, like, what are other New York companies going to do? Are they worrying that they're going to be charged now for something that they put on their loan applications? Well, it turns out that this was the one and only time this law has ever been applied in this way, where there were no actual victims.
It's another Trump first, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, lots of precedents set with this man. They really don't like him. But don't worry, because New York Governor Hochul assured the businesses of New York that none of them will be in trouble for this. So she like essentially was admitting that this was all just a political stunt to get Trump. So listen to this little clip from her.
That this is really an extraordinarily unusual circumstance that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about because they're very different than Donald Trump and his behavior.
Like they're flat out admitting we have a separate justice system for Donald Trump than we do for everyone else. Like how freaking aggravating is it? And then they have the balls to say that like Governor Abbott is doing political stunts by sending migrants, but then they do these political stunts like all the freaking time. So it's like, this is exactly why I tried to stay away from this trial because I obviously get heated about it because it's so absurd. It's like, you cannot make this shit up. It's just crazy. But in any event, who does this actually hurt? Because it sure as hell isn't Trump. Like he's doing better than ever in the polls. He's got a huge support. And in fact, there is a new movement called Truckers for Trump. And after this ruling, they're boycotting deliveries to New York, which I think is fucking awesome. And overall, like this is going to hurt New York. So not only do you have the truckers boycotting and businesses fleeing, not to mention all the tax dollars they've received from Trump's businesses in New York City. I mean, he built the damn skyline. And just think about like how much he's given to that city over the years. He's done a lot of philanthropy. So it's just like a total shame that a few bad apples are going to completely destroy that. But not to mention, New York has already lost 10 billionaires since the COVID shutdowns in 2020. And they need them because the top 1% pays 40% of the taxes there. So right now they're sitting at a $4.3 billion deficit. So like they need more businesses. They shouldn't be chasing away one of the biggest businesses the city's ever had. And I would just love to know, when they all sat down and decided to move forward with this, what was their intended outcome of this case? Because not only did it get more support than ever for Trump, but many are arguing that this will actually bankrupt New York City. So who wins? Like even the leftist media, like the Associated Press, they did a whole report on this where they have found that this charge has never been brought against anyone without there being a clear victim. So even they are agreeing this is just a clown show. Absolutely crazy.
Well, speaking of clown shows, did you see the recent claims from Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger about the Russia hoax collusion or the Russia Collusion Hoax? Yeah.
Yes.
So the only place that I have seen anything being reported about this is on Fox News. And then Real AF also reported it, probably from Fox. But I want to play this clip from Jesse Waters. This was last week. It's a long clip, but my question is like, why is nobody fucking talking about this?
In the 1950s, President Dwight Eisenhower announced that he was naming the first civilian director in the history of the CIA. His name was Allen Dulles, and Dulles had one order: eliminate communism. But under Dulles, the CIA morphed into Washington's most powerful agency, built up by a league of ruthless assassins, operating under the orders to protect capitalism from the Soviet menace. Dulles became power hungry. Just months into his term, Dulles green-lighted Operation PB Success, a coup to take out Guatemala's democratically elected leader, Jacobo Arbenz, and replace him with a military dictator. Why? To serve as a vanguard for corporate interests. You see, they needed to protect the profits of the United Fruit Company. They were under threat of having their land confiscated under the Arbenz administration. And the CIA has never shied away from government overthrow, from Iran to the Congo to South Vietnam. The CIA has never changed until recently, when they began interfering in American elections. And when it happened, it was called a conspiracy theory.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
There's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is. It's
No.
all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't
You won't
verify.
put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look, let
put
me
on
say-
things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been
that.
totally verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign. They got caught.
Barack Obama said everything was done by the book.
I guarantee that there is no political influence in any investigation conducted by the Justice Department or the FBI, not just in this case, but in any case.
Now, Obama isn't the first politician to lie and won't be the last. Last night, we brought you a bombshell report from journalists Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi that allege Obama's CIA not only was involved in the Russia hoax, they started it.
The story, as you mentioned, was that, we were just informed by foreign intelligence about this. Our sources tell us a very different story, which is that this was initiated by the U.S. government. It came from within the U.S. government's intelligence community, including the CIA.
According to this report, Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, asked our English-speaking allies to target the Trump campaign, handing these foreign intelligence agencies a target list of 26 Trump associates. These 26 Trump associates were to be bumped, meaning they would be approached by assets, bumped into, and these interactions and relationships would be reported to the FBI as suspicious. These were people the CIA considered easy marks, like George Papadopoulos, 20-year-old. Foreign spies didn't discover evidence of Trump-Russia collusion and turn it over to the feds. Foreign spies were assigned by Obama's CIA to create a false impression of collusion, to trigger an FBI counterintelligence investigation. Obama's CIA worked with Hillary's foreign agents in London to hatch the hoax, which led to the FBI investigation, the illegal wiretapping, the Mike Flynn sting, and then when Trump caught wind of it, the Comey firing. And then Comey leaks the memos which triggered the Mueller investigation. Now, the Mueller investigation was designed to cover up for Obama and Hillary and tee up impeachment. It failed on impeachment, but the cover-up worked until now. New reporting by Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger revealed that House investigators had discovered the root causes, but their investigation and all of their documents were confined to secure rooms in Langley. And when Trump was leaving office in those hectic final days, he attempted to declassify this material, which started a battle between former CIA Director Gina Haspel, the Department of Justice, and the National Archives. The report says someone may have taken this binder of material exposing the entire intelligence community out of Langley. And it may have been what the FBI was looking for when they raided Mar-a-Lago. Others say that's not true. But the point remains that the Obama-Biden White House, their CIA and FBI director, launched an illegal preemptive war against democracy, got caught, and have been covering it up for 8 years. Schellenberger and Taibbi also say redacted FOIA documents suggest that Biden has been conspiring against Donald Trump with the intelligence community to prosecute the former president in federal court, which would be an impeachable offense. Matt Taibbi is the Racket News editor-in-chief and Griftopia author. So this is great reporting. It's hard to verify because, you know, we were told that this special counsel Durham was going to get to the bottom of it. Are you saying he missed this?
We were told that the scope of the Durham investigation was limited to a few areas and that he wasn't looking at this particular direction. The information that we have, the investigation that was conducted by the House Permanent Select Committee on Investigations of Intelligence, what they found was a broad political espionage campaign, and there were two main conclusions that are at the center of our reports. One is that at least 26 Trump aides and associates were improperly and without predication placed under surveillance in the election year of 2016. And the other one is that these same folks cooked the intelligence for the January 6, 2017 intelligence community assessment, saying that Russia conducted an influence campaign to help Donald Trump. It's a WMD style story. They suppressed dissenting opinions and created a false narrative.
So there's a lot of debate over this binder. Is there a binder? What's in the binder? Is it redacted? Who has it? Where is it? Is that why they conducted the raid? What's going on with these materials?
Well, it's a difficult story because we heard multiple versions of what the binder is, how many binders there are. We heard there are as many as 3. But we do know a couple of concrete things. We know that only a share of the HIPSI investigation ever got out. Of course, people are aware of the Nunes memo, which led to the investigation of uses of FISA. We know that there was a report done into the origins of that intelligence community assessment, which supposedly never left a vault on the grounds of Langley. That's like a 17 to 20 page report that was confirmed by multiple sources. Apart from that, we were told there are numerous other investigative materials that may or may not be these binders that stories are referring to. But we know that there's a lot of stuff that didn't get out, that there were thousands of hours of investigation and their conclusions have not yet been declassified.
Oh, this would just be another reason why they want to do everything they can to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House, because he'll blow the lid off of that. He tried to, wasn't able to at the very end, but caught him most of the time. I am interested in your reporting that there is, I guess, heavily redacted FOIA documents that suggest that Joe Biden has been collaborating with the intelligence community to prosecute these federal cases against Donald Trump. And we'll see how that shakes out. Matt, great reporting to you and Shelley.
Okay, very long clip, right? And maybe it seemed kind of boring, but that was some fucking pretty bombshell information if that binder proves to be true.
And funny how a couple of journalists can uncover this, but Durham, after years of doing this, oh, he doesn't find anything. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, if this is legitimate, Matt Taibbi has to be like next on the Clinton kill list.
No kidding. Well, and Trump too. Like, they will do anything because, I mean, they could go to jail for this, everyone that was involved. So they're not going to let him get back in.
Yeah. And yeah, I know that was a really long clip. And in the beginning there, he was kind of going into a CIA history. I probably could have cut that out, but whatever. On a totally separate but related note, I'm going to play one final clip from Real AF because Andy was talking about this whole thing and he was giving a perspective on Trump that I think a lot of Trump haters don't look at. And so it's a much shorter clip. So let's listen real quick.
I don't agree with it that he says or does sometimes, but in general, the guy's, to me, how I read it is he's a fucking independent guy who's an entrepreneur who's become very successful in life, and he decided to give up all of that. And bro, you know that success, bro. Like people don't understand what this guy's giving up, man. This guy flies on a fucking full size airliner as his private jet. Yeah. There are no limitations to a life like that. That means, like, if we're sitting here and we say, hey, let's go to Dubai. When? Right now. Let's just go. Like, that's the life that he gave up to do this. And you think he did that because he wants to go get abused just for his own ego? Like, that's a hard thing for me to reconcile when people talk shit on him. I'm like, bro, this guy gave up the best life that he could have ever built. Really, probably one of the best lives that anybody's ever built when you consider he was an icon culturally. He's a multi-billionaire. He's in the social circles of every circle in the face of the earth, royalty, leaders, everybody. And he gave that up to come do this job of service, which is a job of service. And these guys don't like that. They don't want that. They want one of them.
They won't play the game.
Yeah. And so, like, to me, dude, you know, I sometimes when Trump, you know, I got to keep.
He goes into some things with, you know, like Trump's initial response to COVID and things that he doesn't agree with. But I think what he said there was something that a lot of people don't. Yeah, I think people don't think about it. Like, Trump has or had an amazing fucking life, like a dream life. And he has gone through the ringer for the last 8 years, basically. Yeah. When he could have just said, fuck it, and just gone and lived his life.
Well, and something else that people don't think about is prior to him running, everyone loved him. I mean, his show was, you know, at the top all the time. Like, New York, he was like the king of New York. Everyone loved him. He was friends with every celebrity. And then all of a sudden, everyone hates him. Why? Because they've been conditioned through the media to hate him. They were told to hate him. They've been brainwashed to hate him. And so they just do, and they don't even know why. Like, you ask people why you don't want to vote for him, why you don't like his policies. They don't have an answer. All they have is emotion that they've been programmed to feel. It's like crazy, but I think a lot of people are waking up to it. And I just want to point out the hypocrisy once again of Biden and the mainstream news, because the other story you have was the death of Alexei Navalny, who was the outspoken opposition of Putin. And so you have Biden and the news like covering this and attacking Putin over the death of Alexei. But then seconds later, cheering on the DAs that are going after Trump. So I want to play this clip of Biden and tell me this isn't the most hypocritical thing you've ever heard.
He bravely stood up to the corruption, the violence, and all the bad things that the Putin government was doing. In response, Putin had him poisoned. He had him arrested. He had him prosecuted for fabricated crimes. He sentenced him to prison. He was held in isolation. Even all that didn't stop him from calling out Putin's lies.
Sure sounds like he's talking about Trump, right? And like, he could be Putin in this scenario, because it's like he's saying this man was brave for speaking out against the corrupt government. And even after being charged multiple times, he kept speaking out. Like, that is literally what Trump is doing. But Biden is too fucking senile to put two and two together. Like, as they say in the South, bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Well, everything Biden says is just total hypocrisy. And when you combine hypocrisy with senility, it's like beyond a joke, right? And I just want to mention one more thing. Speaking of Putin, have you noticed how the MSM has been completely obsessed with him saying he'd rather have Biden in office than Trump because Biden is, quote, more experienced and more predictable? Like,
Yep.
I can't tell you how many ridiculous articles I've read where the MSM is like, oh, this is just showing Putin has more respect for Biden. He's endorsing Biden for presidency. Like, no, you idiots. It's because he knows that Trump can't be easily manipulated and controlled. And Biden is basically the key to America's downfall, and he knows it. It's literally reverse psychology, which should be very clear because that's what the Biden admin does with everything they do and say being the exact opposite of reality.
Right. And everything they accuse someone else of, they've done or are doing, but to a worse degree. Like, it's just so crazy. But I do want to end this on a positive note. So after getting hit with that insane $355 million fine, Trump launched his first shoe for $399 a pair, and he sold out within 1 hour. Like, come on. Like, this is the type of person we need running this country. Nothing can get him down. You try to knock him down, and he comes back stronger than ever. It's like he's smart, he's resourceful, and he knows how to win. So that is my pitch. Trump 2024.
Trump 2024. I'm right there with you.
Ooh, yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted on more insanity that I'm sure is coming for this guy, because it's never ending. And we're in an election year, but we'll keep you guys posted.
I was going to say, this is the home stretch. Like, everything we've seen thus far has been leading up to whatever shenanigans they are going to pull. Yeah.
They're going to pull some crazy shit out, I'm sure. And we'll be covering it. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you back here on Friday. If you're sick of all the crazy shit going on in our country and you want to express your support and patriotism for the show, head on over to our Etsy store at UO Patriot Chicks and check out our new stickers. The link can also be found on our website. If you love the show and you want exclusive episodes, support the podcast and join the conversation by becoming a member of our Patreon community. We'll be posting weekly member-only podcast episodes and content that isn't available on the weekly podcast. Every Patreon member will also get a free Unapologetically Outspoken sticker and updates about our new sticker release before they're made public. And be sure to follow us on TikTok at Unapologetically Outspoken. And if you haven't done so already, please rate and review the podcast. The more you support us, the more people we can reach. So help us spread the word.